Thank you so much for hitting the play button on your favorite listening device of choice from wherever you listen to podcasts. My name is Duff Tyler, and this is A Duff Said. Now, we have got a lot to talk about on this week's show. District tournaments for boys basketball gets underway this week in the state of Michigan. Momentarily, you'll hear from the Lake Orion boys basketball team. And then later, Dragons athletic director Chris Bell joins me to talk about resuming his role as head coach of the Lake Orion football team after being away from the program for the last 5 years. But first up, the Lake Orion boys basketball team just clinched a share of the OAA White Division Championship this past Thursday. The Dragons defeated Birmingham Groves 49-34 on senior night for their 12th win in their last 14 games. Now, the Dragons got the bye in their district tournament, so they'll be in action on Wednesday to take on the winner of the Romeo versus Eisenhower game. After Thursday's game against Birmingham, I caught up with Lake Orion head coach Jose Andrades to talk about how this team went from 2-4 to a team that could be holding a district championship this Friday night. And that conversation starts now. How would you assess where your team is right now?
Right now, we're right where we should be. I think we're in championship mode. We've had 3 really tough games. We got districts coming up, and I feel when we get our point guard back, we're going to be ready to try to make a run.
Now, you started the season 2-4. What is different about this group right now than where you were at the beginning of the season?
Just the team coming together. Becoming one team, playing for each other, realizing their roles. We had to make some changes. That's about it, though.
Now, did you have to say anything or do anything different to turn this team around?
No, this is being myself. We had to change some of the things we were doing, and we did, and they accepted that challenge, and we've been successful since. So that's a good thing.
So you're 12-2 going into district since that start. What has it been like for you to watch this season play out the way it has?
Well, it's been fun because it's fun watching the kids learn and keep learning and adapting, and they're really smart kids, so they learn really quick and they adapt to. We've done different schemes and stuff, and they're just this is one of those rare teams that can put it all together. We got a good point guard, we got a kid going to Grand Valley, we got some football players that are really tough. I think that's a good mixture of kids.
This is your first season as the head coach of the Lake Orion Dragons. You were an assistant for a number of years. What has this first season been like for you?
Oh, it's been great. This is a dream season for a first-year coach. I mean, you got a division title. You have, we're 14-6, which is a pretty good record. And again, we got a bye in the districts. That's our goal, and we'll see where this takes us now. We just got to see what happens.
As we record this, it is senior night, and you got to send your seniors out with that OAA White Division Championship. When this season began, where did you see your guys stacking up among the rest of the teams in that division?
Oh, about right there. I mean, we knew it would be us in Bloomfield, and Groves was very tough, and Troy is also tough too. And we knew that we were probably the top 2 or 3. We weren't sure if we could win it, but as we went through the season and got better, we got more confidence.
What was it like to see this group go out on top on senior night tonight?
Oh, it's everything you want as a coach. You want your seniors to have a great experience. Again, winning division, having a nice student section watching us. That's what it's about playing high school sports, and I'm just so happy for them.
How many years have you been a part of the Lake Orion community?
All 3.
What was it about this town and this community and the school that made you look at it all and say to yourself, this is where I want to be?
Oh, I mean, I coached at other places in OAA, and I've always thought they were tough, hard-nosed players. They always had tough, hard-nosed players, and it's a big school. I mean, that many kids, nice gym. It's just a nice place to coach. And good staff, great AD. I mean, it's everything you could ask for.
Now, I know that you don't know exactly who you're going to be playing next week. You are in the semifinal round of the districts, but just looking at the field, how do you feel you guys match up with the rest of the teams in your district?
We're pretty good. We think we could have a chance to win. I mean, there's a lot of tough teams, but we think we're one of them. and we think we have a shot. We just have to play well, like every team does. I mean, it's March Madness, so you never know what's going to happen. So you got to take on the unexpected and be able to persevere through that and hopefully come out with a W.
What will it take for you guys to be the championship team of your district tournament?
Just playing our style of basketball, because I think we can adjust defensively to most teams, because Alden's 6'7" guards, so we can adjust to most teams. But if we just play our way and if we play our brand of defense and control tempo, I think we can make a run.
One of the things I asked your guys just a moment ago, what's it like to play in March? What's it like for a coach to be coaching a team in March?
Yeah, a team like this is excellent. I mean, this is what we, a lot of time in high schools, you get talent and it goes up and down. And, the great thing about March Madness and the high school sports is everybody restarts. And so now, everybody has a shot at this one championship. And we have 2 games to do it. And that's what's exciting about that.
Up next, you'll meet 2 members of the Dragons that have been teammates since elementary school. But when they start attending college this fall, they'll be conference rivals, in a manner of speaking. When my wife and I moved to Lake Orion 4 years ago, we had to do 2 things: get to know the area and find great pizza. That's when we met Sheldon. Sheldon's the kindest guy you'll meet in Orion Township. His heart is as big as his pizzas, and once you order one, you'll see why Sheldon is our guy for pizza time. Sheldon Street Pizza is located at 3667 Baldwin Road, across from the Great Lakes Athletic Club. You can look them up online at sheldonstreetpizza.com. Sheldon is ready to serve you the best pizza, breadsticks, and sandwiches that are always made fresh when you order them. Sheldon Street Pizza, more than just pizza. And that's a Duff said. Fourth Coast Cider Works is the place to be for hard cider in Oakland County. Located in the main entrance to Canterbury Village, Fourth Coast is quality craftsmanship, quality hard cider. Stop by Fourth Coast and try some of their many flavors on tap. You can also take some home in a can or a howler. Fourth Coast is open Thursday through Sunday. For a complete list of ciders and hours, go to fourthcoastciderworks.com. The best hard cider is on the Fourth Coast, and that's a Duff said. Not available to anybody under the age of 21. Please drink responsibly. As I mentioned earlier, last Thursday was senior night for the Lake Orion boys basketball team. I caught up with seniors Alden Ritt and Trevor Witt after they got a win in their final game together in the Lake Orion gym. So how does it feel to get that kind of win tonight on senior night?
It was huge. It was huge. The fans came out to come support. Big win against a very good Groves team. So this one was definitely a good win.
They beat us the first time, and it was really important to us to get this win and get this championship. So it definitely means a lot.
How would you guys assess where this team is right now?
I think we're playing our best ball at the right time.
Playoff ready. I'd have to say playoff ready.
And we're just going to keep playing with each other, keep playing for each other, and I expect a lot out of this team come playoff time.
I want to rewind the clock back to earlier this season. You guys started off 2-4. What were some of the struggles that you guys had right out of the gate?
I just think we weren't playing with confidence and we weren't playing together. So, we definitely have grown a lot, and we're looking forward to making a playoff run.
And Trevor, what would you say was the mindset of this team at that particular time in the schedule?
I think we were just a little down on ourselves. We started off rough. Just getting down on ourselves, not really communicating to each other. We were bringing each other down, and then, we turned it around here, and we started bringing each other together, having good chemistry now. So everything's clicking now.
What was said, or what did you guys have to do to get that big turnaround? Because you guys are like 12-2 since then.
I think we just bonded. Everything started clicking.
We started spending a lot of time together off the court too, and it's crazy how you see that off the court move and on the court, and you start having a lot more fun with those guys.
Well, how would you assess this team going into the districts next week?
I think we're ready to go, ready to ball, ready to go pretty far in this tournament.
Alden, what do you know about the field that you guys are going to be up against?
So we play the winner of Ike and Romeo, I believe, and then the winner of that plays the winner of all the Rochester teams, Stony Creek, Rochester, or Adams.
I want to know a little bit about you guys right now. Tell me a little bit about yourselves. You're both seniors on the team. I'll start with you, Alden. Is basketball the only sport you play here at Lake Orion?
Yeah, I mean, I played soccer like my freshman year, but it was never anything crazy. But basketball, I think we're starting to change the culture here a little bit. So.
When did you discover basketball?
Since I was 6 months old. So.
Okay, so you were probably born with a basketball, and you had one in your crib then, I take it.
Yep, absolutely.
Who were some of your earliest influences in basketball?
Kobe Bryant, LeBron James.
What was it about those two that really just drew you into the game and wanted to make you a better player?
I mean, just a passion that Kobe Bryant played with, and then, I mean, LeBron James is one of the best players on the planet. So.
How did you develop your game?
Just lots of hours in the gym, getting better.
And how about you, Trevor? When did you discover basketball?
I would have to say, like, elementary school. I've always been playing it my entire life. You know, ever since I got into football, you know, I was like, oh, what am I going to do in the winter? Basketball. So I just picked up a basketball and started playing.
We've been playing since
we've been playing together.
Second grade, right?
Yeah,
Fourth, second grade.
Oh, man. What has it been like for you two to just have been teammates for so long?
It's been great. It's been great, you know. I love having him around me at all times, you know. He's a great teammate, great player, great person.
Same thing with him. I mean, it's just great. I mean, we both accomplished our goals, too. You know, he's going to Saginaw Valley for football and going to Grand Valley for basketball, so it's just been great.
You guys are going to be kind of rivals in the GLIAC, not necessarily facing off against each other in basketball. What's that going to be like when you guys see yourselves wearing opposing colors?
Oh, it's gonna be fun. Lots of trash talk, you know. If the other team, lots of fun rubbing in each other's face, you know.
This is going to be your last run together here at Lake Orion. You guys got the districts next week, and we'll just see how far this can go. But what is it like to play basketball in the month of March?
You know, it's just all about making memories, going deep in the playoffs, you know. We got to cherish each practice, you know, make the most of it.
It's real special, you know. This is what you work for the entire year, playing in March. And, you know, the farther you go, the better you are. So we're just going to, you know, take advantage of every opportunity we get and keep working.
I know you just said you want to take advantage of every opportunity. What will it take for you guys to be the last team standing next week in the districts?
Just keep playing with defensive intensity and keep playing together.
Yep, and we're going to have good, clean, hard practices, you know, get everything dialed in.
Okay, I'm going to change the subjects just a little bit. We're going to move from basketball. We're going to do a little fun game now. This is 5 things that people need to know about Trevor Witt and Alden Ritt. I'm going to start with you, Alden. What is your hype song?
Dreams and Nightmares, Meek Mill.
I would have to say Crazy Story Part 3, King Von.
And Trevor, what is your favorite all-time movie?
All-time movie, I'd have to say Step Brothers.
Let me think. What's it called? Good Will Hunting.
Okay, so those are 2 completely opposite films. This is why you guys are going to opposite colleges. I see a little bit of differences there, just a little bit. I mean, you like the drama. He's all about the comedy. But that's okay. I got to say, you do have kind of a Will Ferrell look to you, too, by the way, Trevor.
Thank you.
No problem. And I know you said that LeBron and Kobe were your favorite players. They were kind of your influences in basketball.
Yes, sir.
What would you say is your favorite professional sports team?
Ooh, right now, I've always loved watching the Spurs play.
So you're a big Popovich fan, too.
Absolutely.
What is it about Pops that you like so much?
I just like how they move the ball. You know, it's really fun to watch.
I'd have to say the Lions because, you know, even though they're not doing too well right now, they always play hard. That's what I like about them.
This is going to be a fun question, guys, because this one I'm really going to pick your brain on. Let's say it's an ideal night out for you guys. Say it's date night or you're having dinner with the family. So I'm going to give you 4 different choices. What would your ideal meal be? Are we going to go wings? Are we going to go hamburgers, pizza, or tacos? What are you going with, Trevor?
I'm gonna go with the wings, you know, nothing better than a good chicken wing.
Describe the perfect chicken wing.
Just probably a drum covered in barbecue.
Hot, mild, or spicy, or sweet?
Sweet.
Definitely. You're just like me. That's the way I like them, too. I don't want my mouth on fire when I'm trying to eat a good chicken wing. And how about you? What are you going to go with if you're going with a dinner night?
Steak and potatoes. You can't go wrong with steak and potatoes. Medium
Wow,
rare.
you medium rare. That's how I like it too. You swerved me a little bit. I give you 4 different options, but you went on your own there. You chose a steak and
very
potato.
firm on that. I love my steak and potatoes.
That's a good choice too. Final question, fellas. What does it mean to you guys to represent the town and the community of Lake Orion?
I've grown up here my whole life, so it means the world to me.
Yeah, I could say the same exact thing. Been here my entire life, Feels great.
What is your one favorite thing about Lake Orion?
The community. It's all about the community.
I was going to say the same thing. Just everybody's together all the time.
Fellas, it was such a pleasure to get a chance to talk to you on a Duff Said this week. Best of luck to you in the districts. I can't wait to see how this little frenemy rivalry is going to go as you go on to the GLIAC. Best of luck to both of you, fellas.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Up next, a familiar face will be back on the sidelines on the Lake Orion football field this fall. Chris Bell joins me to talk about going back to being the head coach of the Dragons. Winter is here in the state of Michigan, but hard cider is good for all 4 seasons. Looking for the best hard cider in Oakland County? Then stop by Fourth Coast Cider Works. Located in the main entrance to Canterbury Village, Fourth Coast has many flavors on tap and some you can take home. Fourth Coast is open Thursday through Sunday. For a complete list of ciders and hours, go to fourthcoastciderworks.com. Fourth Coast Cider Works. Quality craftsmanship, quality hard cider. Not available to anybody under the age of 21. Please drink responsibly. When my wife and I moved to Lake Orion 4 years ago, we had to do 2 things: get to know the area and find great pizza. That's when we met Sheldon. Sheldon's the kindest guy you'll meet in Orion Township. His heart is as big as his pizzas, and once you order one, you'll see why Sheldon is our guy for pizza time. Sheldon Street Pizza is located at 3667 Baldwin Road across from the Great Lakes Athletic Club. You can look them up online at sheldonstreetpizza.com. Sheldon is ready to serve you the best pizza, breadsticks, and sandwiches that are always made fresh when you order them. Sheldon Street Pizza, more than just pizza. And that's a Duff Said. For 18 years, Chris Bell was the head coach of the Lake Orion football team. His football career started there in the mid-1980s when he was the quarterback for the Dragons. Chris Bell took over the program as head coach back in 1998, and he took them to the state finals twice in the late 2000s. The Dragons won a state championship back in 2010. Chris Bell's many accomplishments made him a member of the Michigan High School Football Coaches Hall of Fame. In 2016, he stepped down as head coach to be the athletic director at Lake Orion High School. When his replacement, John Blackstock, decided to resign from the position of head coach of the Dragons back in November, Chris Bell was able to take on that role once again as head coach while staying on board as the school's AD. I caught up with Chris Bell recently to talk about all of that and so much more. That conversation starts now. What led to your decision to want to come back and coach football at Lake Orion again?
Well, obviously when I stepped down to assume the role of athletic director, and I was hoping they would allow me to do both. But the superintendent at the time, and a great lady, she just felt it was best if I stepped away and was able to focus on all the other sports as well. Her fear was perception. She knew that, hey, I'm going to work as hard as I can for all of our sports, not just football. But she just felt like the perception of me being the football coach for as long as I was, it just, she felt she didn't want that negativity associated with it in any way. So I stepped away. But, was always so close to it. John Blackstock was an assistant of mine for past 19 years or previous 19 years, and he took over. So those guys leaned on me a little bit, but I also wanted to step away and let them do their thing as well. They needed to make their decisions and run their systems and do their thing. So when John informed me this year that he wanted to step down as the head coach, we have a new superintendent, and our principal had some discussions, and they let me know that if I wanted to take it back on, that I would have their support. And also, and funny, I did get a call from our old superintendent, Mary Giannopoulos, who called and said, "Hey, not that you need it." She goes, "But I'm all in with you taking this thing back on." So I missed it. I think I can help. I really miss working with the kids. I miss the coaching staff. I'm one of those old school guys who loves the grind of film work and late nights and putting together a game plan. And that's really a part of who I was for the previous 25 years, and I wanted to get back to that. So I'm still young right now. I don't know, but I don't know how many years that a couple of years from now I'll be able to retire. I figured, hey, the last go at this thing, I want to make sure I'm doing everything I can be doing that I really enjoy. And that means working with student athletes and helping them compete and be successful.
When you were looking at the possibility the first time of taking on those two roles, both the AD and the coaching position, what interested you in wanting to be an athletic director on top of being a head coach?
We had a great athletic director in Bill Reese, who I worked with for a number of years, and he really had the programs going in the right direction. Just being close to it, I could do the same for our coaches, to be honest with you. And I had been an assistant principal for 12 years as well. I loved my role as an AP, but I was ready for something different. And I love the fact that I can work with the other coaches, and our football program had been successful, as well as we've got several successful programs at the high school. But we have a model. We have a model of what it takes to elevate your sport and be successful, to the best of our abilities. I wanted to be able to share that with our other coaches. But again, I'm fortunate that we have great coaches who run outstanding programs, but it's been great getting everybody on the same page. And, I think our programs, a lot of our programs have really seen a lot of success, hopefully because of that. The bottom line is that our goal is to do the best we can for all of our student athletes in all of our sports. And I think we do that. So, that was really the attraction, take that on with not just football, but being able to provide that for all of our other sports as well.
When you were the quarterback back in high school during the mid-'80s, did you also play defense as well?
I didn't. My JV year, I used to when I was younger, and I always crack jokes about it. That I was pretty good over there. I thought I was pretty good over there. But my JV coach at the time came in and said, we had a quarterback coach who was a former quarterback at Lake Orion, and Jack Parker and Clark Bush was our JV coach. They decided, hey, if you're going to be our quarterback, you're not going to play defense. So my sophomore year ended my defensive career.
Yeah, so now you're finally getting to play that dual threat role. You get to be both the head coach and the athletic director. How thrilled are you to have both those opportunities? I'm excited, obviously, about coming back and getting a chance to coach, but they're different jobs. I'll be honest with you. It's from during the day, my job is the athletic director. At 4:00 when it's time for practice, my role will be as a football coach. In the evenings, I put the athletic director hat back on, and it's time to make sure that our contests are running the way they need to run. Unfortunately, I've got a great staff to help me with that. And then when those are done at 9:00, I put the football coach back on, and I hit the film and put on the pot of coffee and do what I need to do to get ready for practice the next day. So they're really different jobs, and I thought I did a good job of this as an assistant principal as well. During the school day, my job was as an assistant principal. There's a time to be the football coach. Also, weekends, weekends we have some Saturday events, but those are usually early, but Sundays are downtime, and I spend all day Sunday
prepping for the week for our football preparation, breaking down film, meeting with staff, putting game plans together. So a lot of the work is done during non-AD times, and I have to make sure that I keep that separate. And like I said, I did it for 12 years as an AP, and 1 year as the AD when I was able to do both. But so not an issue. It just means, I'll be honest, it just means a busier summer, busier weekends, and longer hours. And on an average week, athletic directors don't work a 40-hour work week. We tend to work. The nature of the job is you're already working 10 to 11-hour days every day because you have events and things like that. So it just means the days get a little bit longer, but I'm looking forward to the grind.
Sounds like you've been missing it every day for the last 5 years.
You know what? I don't know if this is a good thing or bad thing, but I've spent from college on, I've spent my adult life. It's been the passion, of working as a coach and how to do a better job coaching kids, and not just X's and O's as well, staying on top of schemes, but that's who I've been, and so I love the fact. And in the last 5 years have been great. Even though I haven't been coaching, it's been great working with the other teams, but there's been a piece of me that has been put on the shelf. And it's nice to be able to take that down and get back at it.
You mentioned that it's going to be a much busier summer for you. When I talked to John Blackstock a couple of weeks ago, he was telling me that part of being the head coach was kind of taken away from his family life. As for you, you have 5 kids, and you've got a family on top of all of this. How supportive have they been through all of this process as you get back into coaching and being the athletic director?
I think they struggled with me stepping down more than I did, to be honest with you. They are ecstatic. They just know that's me. And number one, my wife is she's to do everything behind the scenes support, and she's all in, and she knows that's who I am. So it wasn't even a question when the superintendent and principal and I were having discussions. She was on board 100%. So she knows that's who I am. And I've got my kids. I've got one left in high school. My daughter Sydney is a sophomore rather. She's going to be a junior, and she plays varsity volleyball and varsity softball. So I'm still able to see her. My other ones are graduated college, jobs, and beyond. So it's a little bit easier. I still have one in college who's at Northwood University playing volleyball, and that's a little bit harder because there will be some times I won't be able to see her play as much. But the nice thing there, her games are live streamed, and my wife gets to all of her games. So it's a little bit easier, to be honest with you. It was a little bit harder back when, I think a little bit harder back when we had all 5 kids and they were, all school age and younger. And, and my wife knew come from August through November, Christy knew I was pretty useless. She'd fill me in on what I needed to know, but, the hours I had to keep were just, it was what it was. But we were used to it. She's grown up with that. With her dad, Mike Boyd was at Lakes for 45 years, and she understands the lifestyle, and they're all in. So fortunately, I have that kind of support. I always tell my young coaches, you find a good lady that loves football and loves the fact that you coach, you marry her. That's always my advice to my young coaches.
When John Blackstock came to you and informed you of his decision to want to step away from that head coaching role and take on a lesser role with the team, what was going through your mind at that moment? And did you get a sense that this was finally your opportunity to not only be the school's athletic director, but get back to coaching the football team?
I'll be honest with you, I hadn't thought about it until John let me know he was stepping down. I know the toll that it took on John, and I also too, I would share with you that I've also, I would look for football openings, and there were a couple of openings around the state of Michigan that we were looking for athletic directors / football coaches. But, moving my family and leaving Lake Orion, really never was an option for me. But I would look. I mean, the interest was there. But I'll be honest, I hadn't thought about coming back here until I always thought, hey, when I retire, from being the athletic director, be able to coach. But when John said, hey, I'm stepping down, all right, that's when we started the conversations with our athletic director and with our principal and our superintendent. And but I knew the toll it was taken on John. John put his heart and soul into the program. And again, it's one of those things that unless you've worn those shoes and understand the daily toll that it takes, it's hard to imagine the stress that, he put on himself, and it was really affecting him. So, I supported him in that decision. He gave us everything he had and did a great job by the kids. There's so much behind the scenes that people don't see that he put into the program and put into the kids. And so I understood. And the fact that he also, I think, just wanted to stay on and coach, I think he was a bit relieved when I told him, hey, I've got the blessing to come back. After at the end of the season, when he and I sat down, I shared with him. I didn't share with him I was coming back till the season was over. Even though during the season he told me about mid-season he wasn't coming back, so we were having those discussions. And then once I got the okay, at the end of the season when they were done, I sat him down and said, okay, listen, I've got the green light to come back. And I think he was relieved and excited because he and I work really well together. I lean on him a lot. He does a great job, and he lets me deal with I get to deal with the fun stuff, and he can just worry about being a position coach and coaching his kids and getting ready for games and really, takes a little bit of pressure off his shoulders.
I want to run down the resume that John did. He's been a part of your staff for 19 years, and now he'll be going back to coaching the special teams and defensive back units. But as a head coach for Lake Orion when he took over for you, he won 23 games, made the playoffs 3 times in the 5 years that he was head coach. Looking at his contributions, how would you rate him as a head coach, and do you think that's something he may take on again someday?
That's a good question. It'd have to be the right situation for him, I think, to take it on again. Right now he's at that age too, where his kids are. He's got a daughter who's an outstanding soccer player, who's going to be she's a sophomore, and she's traveling all over. And his son is an 8th grader. He'll be a 7th grader, but he'll be coming up through, and he's a baseball player and a football player as well. So, they're at that age where he's really busy with them, and I think he felt like it was taking too much time away from them. Also, the stress. His wife is very supportive, but the stress. And as a football coach, this is one of those things hard to explain. When you lose on Friday night, it's the stress and strain and that you carry with you through the weekend, and it's awful. You get back to work on Monday, and you start feeling better when you're working with kids again. But just the expectation, especially when you have a good program, and we've been very good through the years. So the expectation is we should be winning. If we're not winning, then darn, it's coach's fault. And that, fair or unfair, that's just the way it is. And so that's the biggest thing is I think that really took a toll on him. As well as parents have changed a little bit. Everybody thinks that their child should be starting and should be have all these highlights for social media and getting college offers all over. It's just social media has really, really added pressures. It's really warped the reality of parents, to be honest with you. Parents have they see all they know is what they see, and they really don't know what's behind it. So there were a lot of things involved, but would he come back? I think in the right situation, in terms of us, he left the program in great shape. I mean, our numbers are good. Our kids, we've got some outstanding kids. They're character kids who work hard, good young men. So, I mean, the program's in great shape. We just need to tweak some things and see what we can do.
That's a very good point that you brought up with parents and social media, and so much of that taking a toll on a coach. Everybody's got questions about why their kid is not excelling at the level that, say, some other kid might be. As a coach, how do you deal with that, and how do you best try to relate the information as to what you're doing as a head coach to those parents?
Well, the one thing that we do, and our system lends itself to that, we try to play as many kids as we can and get kids on the field. But we also, I'm also very transparent. This is varsity football, and we play in probably the best conference in the state of Michigan. So and then our non-league schedule is as brutal as can be as well. I think last year, the Cal Preps rates the schedules, and last year I think the team played the 3rd toughest schedule in the state of Michigan, and it's going to be just as tough, if not tougher. We pick up, instead of Seaholm was down last year. Instead of playing Seaholm, we get Oak Park. So, I mean, it's a brutal, brutal schedule. But I'm just transparent with the parents. We have to play the best kids, the best. And if a parent calls me and says, "Why is my child not playing?" Well, because I think somebody's better. Now we try to play. It's high school football. We try to play as many kids as possible. But in reality, we also have a lot of kids who are also able to two platoon, which gets more kids on the field. We have special teams opportunities, so we'll play in a game. We'll probably play if it's tight. Probably 35 to 40 kids will see the field. Now, when you carry a team of 65 to 70, that's tough. But so that's hard, and we're honest with the kids. The kids know. The kids really never have an issue because the kids see it every day. They know that we're going to play the best players at those positions. They have a chance to prove themselves every day. We also coach the heck out of all the kids because during the week, you got your individual drills, your scout teams. Every player on our team gets coached, and every player on our team has value. I mean, they come out, and those kids, I don't care if a kid never sees the field on game day, I guarantee Monday through Thursday, he is busting his rear end every day in practice, and he's getting better, and he's getting coached, and we coach him just as hard as if he was a first teamer. So sometimes parents don't see that, and sometimes a parent can really, the negativity of a parent can really wreck the experience of a child because a kid might see, hey, I might be the fifth best receiver out here. It's just the way it is. These guys are bigger, taller, faster, better, but we're going to love that player just like anybody else and coach him up and try to get him as good as he can be. But if he's got to go home and listen to every day how coach is a jerk and coach plays favorites, it takes a toll on the kid. That's the shameful thing of this. The other thing is these college offers. These offers, colleges throw them out left and right. And, when you dig deep after the signing period, you start to see, well, wait a minute. These kids are, we just had it with a Division II school. It's one of our seniors. They offered one of our offensive linemen. And he said, "Okay, I'm in. I want to commit." And they said, "Whoa, wait a minute. We're not ready to, we're not ready to honor that offer yet," because they were looking for other kids. And so it happens. Just because you have an offer doesn't mean it's really a true offer. But these kids are getting offered left and right by everybody under the sun. And they put it on social media and all the parents say, "Well, why is my kid not getting offered?" So, well, you got to understand, just because somebody offers you doesn't mean it's a scholarship. And there are, so we try to educate our parents with that. And I will say this, at Lake Orion, we've got outstanding parents. We are far luckier than most. Most of our parents get it. And it's a great community, and they're very supportive of all of our teams. So I don't want to paint it's just one of the challenges that John had to endure, and one of the challenges that coaches have to endure all over. But we are lucky at Lake Orion that we got great parents.
Absolutely. I had a chance to meet some of the parents who are already making preparations and plans for this fall when the season starts again. And you've got a very great community here of parents who understand what's expected of not only the kids, but the community when they're a part of Lake Orion football. When you get a kid for the first time and you're getting ready to coach him, what is the right mindset that you are looking for? What is the Chris Bell mindset that you want these kids to have in order to play on your team?
Football and athletics gives these kids a template, to try to aim for in terms of how to prepare themselves as athletes, physically, from the training that we offer, strength and speed training that we offer, the encouragement of developing positive habits from nutrition, sleep, staying away from drugs and alcohol, and then the mindset of doing your best every day, doing your best. Our motto for the season for us is all in, and that means, and a lot of coaches will say this, and they mean it, but there's no difference of going to class and putting forth your best effort. Be willing to do the things that you're uncomfortable doing, and that's the difference. And that's really what we try to push kids. Everybody's going to show up for practice. Everybody's going to practice at a certain level, but are you willing to push yourself to that uncomfortable level? That's the difference between average and great. Are you willing to be comfortable being uncomfortable and push yourself to that level to maximize your potential? Because a lot of the kids don't understand how hard they can work and how good they can be because they aren't pushed to that level, and that's our job, is to push them to that level, to where they, beyond what they think that they can do. Now, a lot of that is, a lot of it's skill work. You develop those skills. How you develop those skills? You do it through great coaching, great technique, all right, and through repetition. And then eventually the talent will take over. They form great habits, the talent takes over. So it's in football, it's a process. It really is, but they have to buy into that process. And if they cheat themselves, it carries over. You can't be half in. You can't be that kid that's showing up late to class, doing some negative things off the field, not taking care of yourself. It's going to catch up to you. So you got to be all in. And I think football especially gives you that template. And football also requires you to also be a teammate and be unselfish. We talk about, running backs. We start, in our we have one featured back. It's our super back in our spread offense. But, we'll rotate a lot of guys. So we may play, up to 3 through the course of a game. But can those guys understand that, hey, maybe one might get more carries than number 2? Can you all be happy for each other? Can you all pull for each other? Can you all work together? Can you all help each other? It requires kids to be teammates, and unselfish. So all the skills that we hope our kids leave high school with, football teaches. That's why I love it. That's the other template that we have. Our kids at Lake Orion, we're going to block and tackle. And I take that from my father-in-law at Waterford Lady Lakes. He was very, very successful. I learned this at a young age. You got to make sure all of your kids can block and tackle and be fundamentally sound. We start there, and that gives us a chance. Again, it allows talent to take over. But if you're not fundamentally sound, I don't care how talented you are. There are plenty of talented teams out there who don't do well because fundamentally they're not very good. So we start with our fundamentals. Like I said, we have a process. And our goal is every year I say our goal is to exceed our potential. Let's be as good as we can be, and then a little bit better. And if we do that, I don't care if it's 3 wins, 5 wins, 9 wins, 12 wins. That will take care of itself. Let's make sure that we exceed our potential.
You want to be the best influence that you can for these kids. Who are some of the biggest influences in your career in becoming a head coach?
I was fortunate to play for some great head coaches. They were great people. I had, and it goes all the way back to my junior varsity coach, a guy by the name of Clark Bushman, was, he was very much old school, but he loved the game of football. He taught you to play with passion and taught you to play hard and love the game and love the grind. And then I was fortunate in high school, I played for Doug Frazier, longtime coach at Birmingham Seahome. Well, when he was at Lake Orion, I was fortunate enough to play for Doug, and Doug really, as a quarterback, Doug did his best to involve me in game planning, and not Doug made the game plans, but he reviewed it with me and he would take input. You like this? You not like this? What are your ideas? And what I learned was Doug wanted to make sure he tailored the game plan to what I thought I could do well. And, he gave me some flexibility, some freedom, taught me a ton. And then I also played my basketball coach, Chuck Mahoney, who unfortunately passed away. He was just a great person. And they really provided an example. Doug, Chuck, Clark, they provided an example of, if you're going to, it's an honor to be a coach, and it's an honor to coach young men. And you need to hold yourself as a person to a higher standard if you're going to do this. I think that's for all educators, fair or unfair. We work with young people, and we need to hold ourselves to a standard where we can be role models. Be positive every day. I was also fortunate to work with Pete Schmidt, and Pete Schmidt was coach at Albion College, and I spent 2 years working with Pete as a student assistant. I played for a couple of years, and I spent 2 years working with Pete, and he gave me a great education as well. And one of the most knowledgeable X and O guys you ever come across. And so great opportunities there, learning from Pete. And still some of the things that he taught me, still influence what we do here at Lake Orion on the offensive side of the ball. And then I also was fortunate, the other thing as well is I've had some great assistant coaches. My college roommate, Dave Tooley, he and I coached for 25 years together, and going way back to when we were in college, pushing each other. He was a defensive guy, I was an offensive guy. We were always pushing each other and sharing ideas, and so I've been fortunate to be surrounded by some great influences and great people.
Your first job as a head coach came back in 1991 at Linden High School when you were coaching the football team over there. What were some of those early days like, and what were some of your emotions like as you were getting to know the role of being a head coach?
I was a head coach right out of college at Linden High School, and myself and like Dave Tooley and another college roommate, Rodney Targus, and we, Linden was in rough shape, and we didn't win a lot of games. We won one game in 2 years, and here we went a bunch of young guys who thought we knew everything and just give us a team and we'll find ways to win, to learn. It was, oh my God, there's so much we don't know. And then we went over to St. Clement High School in Centerline, and Dave and I, and in 2 years, we made 2 trips to the state semifinals and started to figure it out. Now I inherited a good program. St. Clement had a great football tradition. And so, there was a little bit of pressure. Hey, you got to, I appreciate Vic Michaels, who's now the director of the Catholic League. Vic was the AD, and Vic took a chance on a young guy who hadn't had a lot of success. But, he over through the interviews, he knew philosophically what that was about and X and O wise what that was about. And so I had that experience as I came in and worked for 3 years with Rich Burrell as the assistant coach. And then after 3 years, when Rich was let go, they named me the interim coach, and then they took the interim tag off. When we got close to the summer, they saw the work we were doing with the kids and all of that. So I don't know if there was ever a real huge adjustment period. We had a group of seniors at the time that we'd grown up with. We had them as sophomores, and they were a great group of guys that wanted to win as bad as I did. And they really, this is really what it takes. A group of seniors said, you know what, it's about time. Let's start doing things the right way. We can do more. And, we ended up that first year, we ended up losing the semifinals to Rockford. But, I mean, these kids, they were phenomenal. Talk about a great group of kids, tough kids, played hard, just loved to play the game. And that really, I'll be honest with you, that group of kids really helped set the standard of how we're going to play at Lake Orion. We're going to play. Lake Orion's always been a tough, hard-nosed, old-fashioned style football program. But we, in '98, we threw the ball all over the yard. I mean, I think by the time we were done that year, there was only one team in the state of Michigan who had thrown it more. That was Mayo, because they were running the run and shoot offense and all that stuff. But we had thrown it, but we threw it because that's what our talent level dictated. We weren't going to become, BYU. It was just the fact that we had a quarterback and some athletes, and we could do that really well. Now, over the years, again, we've had some good. Our offense has changed as our talent has changed, but the foundation for us to be successful is you still get a great group of kids who love to play the game, and who are willing to work hard and who are tough. That's what we're about. Some years we've been great developing that. Some years we haven't been. But, by and large, I mean, if you take a look at the year we won the state championship in 2010, great kids, fundamentally sound, worked hard, tough kids, probably not our most talented team. But they had all the intangibles, the high character team. So kind of a roundabout answer. I grew up with those guys a little bit. There really wasn't, I wasn't really worried about, I don't worry about expectations are what they are. We always expect to win. I'm more focused on the kids. Let's get ready to play. Let's be the best we can be. There's not enough time. There's really not enough time to worry. If that makes sense.
Oh, absolutely. So when you got that call to be the head coach at your alma mater, what was going through your mind when you realized that this was your opportunity to come home?
Well, I was down at St. Clement. I'll be honest. I was down at St. Clement, and I was a head coach at St. Clement, and the athletic director called me, and he said that they were having a huge buyout here at Lake Orion, and Chrissy and I had just gotten married, and shortly thereafter, she was pregnant with our first child. And I'll be honest, it was really hard to leave St. Clement. St. Clement was a tremendous people, great support, loved working with Vic. It was awesome. But the hard part was, so I'm now young. I'm now married. We're going to have a baby soon, and my salary is $17,000 a year. Insurance isn't very good. So I had a chance to come up here to be the offensive coordinator for Rich Burrell. And, coming up here, my starting salary up here was like $25,000. I was going to make another $2,000 to coach football. I thought, man, I'm rich. Holy cow, I'm going to make 27 grand. I'm loaded. And we came up here, we bought a home, of which we're still in, bought whatever we could afford. So I came back, it was a chance to get into the public system more than anything. And the fact that it was Lake Orion where I went to school was, that was a blessing. But I came back here as an assistant with no guarantee that I was going to be the head coach. Rich, I had talked with Rich, and Rich was great to work for. And he said, hey, we were talking before I came out, he said, hey, because you're going to be the offensive coordinator. He said, I might be here 2 years, 3 years, 1 year. He said, I don't know. It's 5 years. He said, when I'm done, hey, you're going to be in a great position to take over. So, but there were no promises that, hey, you're going to be the head coach here. And, but after 3 years, administratively, they made a change. And I don't know if they made the change and say, hey, we're going to hire Chris. So they just said, hey, we want to go in a different direction. And they, Rich resigned. And like I said, I was the interim and ran all the off-season stuff. And they, as we got close to the summer, they said, hey, you're going to be our guy. We're going to give you the shot. You're going to be our guy. So it kind of was a roundabout way. Lake Orion, I'll be honest, from when I had graduated in 86 and then came back in 95, 10 years, it can change a little bit. There's some things I didn't recognize anymore. And we had to, football wise, they said Rich was a great person and good for kids and very good football coach, but I don't care who it is. You're going to have different philosophies and the program's going to be a little bit different. So I tweaked some things that I thought we were missing. Very similar to what John, when John took over for me, John did some things a little bit differently that he thought were best. So, that's in a roundabout way. That's how it all came together.
Just looking at what you accomplished during that time in your first run as head coach, you won 149 games, a state championship back in 2010. You also won 7 district titles, 4 regional titles, and you're a member of the Michigan High School Coaches Hall of Fame. When you took over the program, could you have ever imagined having that kind of resume?
Again, it's not something that, playing for state title was always the ultimate goal. And we were fortunate to get to that game twice. And when we got there in 2010, that definitely being there in 2008 prepped our kids. Plymouth was really good, but it took Plymouth about a half to shake off kind of the starry-eyed look of, oh my God, we're playing at Ford Field, where our kids are playing right from the gate. And that might have been us early on in 2008 playing Rockford. We were a little starry-eyed playing at Ford Field. So, but did I ever anticipate the state championship was always the goal, playing for it and get to that level. And I think Bill Reese was always, Bill as our AD. That was always his message is why not us? We can get there. And Bill gave us every resource we needed and supported us the whole way. So credit to him. But you know what? At the end of the season, at the end of a career, when it's all done, you know what? Then you can step back and appreciate and say, hey, you know what? We won some games. We did some things. I always go this way. I have that, and this is, I've never really looked back. First of all, football is such a team game. So yeah, the records get assigned to me, but I'm only as good as my assistant coaches and my players. Number one. Number two, I do understand the work a head coach puts in, what the head coach has to do, and there has to be some leadership in some direction. But as I tell my players, there's not time to sit back and reflect and think about the accolades. The time is when you're done. At the end, like I said, during the season, we get basically 24 hours to feel good about ourselves if we win a game, and then it's back to work. And I think the same thing with coaching. I think you every year is new, and I think that's really what's great about coaching is every year is a new challenge. So it keeps you refreshed. So yeah, I look at it, we've done some really good stuff. And do the numbers dictate that? Is it worthy of being in the Hall of Fame? Yeah, I think it is. I think we've done some good things. We've put Lake Orion on the map as a football program, and it's pretty well known, and we've won some big games. But the other side is it doesn't win us one game in 2022. All that stuff was great, but you can't spend too much time looking in the rearview mirror. It doesn't win us one game going forward, so we got to reprove ourselves again.
What are some of those challenges that you're going to face when you get back to coaching this coming August?
The biggest challenge right now has been, is working with our coaching staff. I mean, I know them because most of them have been with us, and we've got some that are teachers in the district. But they also, most of them as well, some of them have played for me, so they understand, we've got 4 players on staff. But just working with them, change, again, it's you do this every year, but philosophically, this is who we're going to beat. This is how we're going to play. Here's the expectations. Here's what we got to get back to. That's the biggest thing right now is working with the staff. And then we transition during the summer, putting our summer program back in place and using the allowable days that we have to work with the kids, because we want, the preseason is so short in August that you got to be ready to go by the time football starts. That means your 7-on-7s are done, your offense is installed, your defense is installed. Fundamentally, the kids, they haven't been able to tackle anybody, but at least they, position-wise, they know techniques, terminology, where they need to be. Probably the biggest challenge we have is going to be getting our group ready for the level of competition that we have to play. And that's it. Again, there are no easy wins on our schedule. Every single game is going to be playing a playoff caliber team, and it's going to be a dogfight week in and week out.
You said something just a moment ago that really stuck with me when you said that you put Lake Orion on the map. You have been a integral part of that, not just as the head coach, but you were the quarterback of your high school football team at Lake Orion, and you achieved a lot of success when you were there. What has it been like to go from that guy who was the quarterback of his high school football team that the man really associate not just as the football coach of Lake Orion, but the community of Lake Orion as a whole?
Again, it's not something that I think about a lot. I mean, Lake Orion's a great place, and I'm just a small piece. I'm a small part, and not only as obviously as a football coach, that you get a lot of attention. There's football's it's a high attention sport in our community and all over. It's the number 1 rated fan viewing sport in the country. But you know what? But it's just I just try to do my part. I mean, that's really what it's all about. I mean, I've raised my kids here. My wife and I are involved in the community. We take great pride in everything that's Lake Orion. Whether we enjoy everything. It's a great place to live. It's a great place to raise a family. You've got people with some tremendous core values. They support their kids. So yeah, a lot of people do equate myself with Lake Orion because that's just a name they've heard over and over and over again. And there's been a lot, obviously in education, schools, there's a lot of turnover. I think we've been through 5 or 6 superintendents. We've been through 4 or 5 principals. But the bottom line is, and this is what I'm proud of, our superintendent that we have in place, just like the previous superintendent in Marion Giannopoulos, and going all the way back to Tom Kirkwood, Bobby, good people. Our building principal, one of the greatest human beings you're going to see in Steve Hawley. Todd Dunkley was with us for a number of years. So people that come in, he said they have our core values. And they believe in raising kids the right way and doing the best you can. We're not perfect. We all make mistakes. But the bottom line is we always try to do what's in the best interest of our kids. And, and athletically, I think we've established a tradition that, let's not be afraid. Let's not feel like we have to apologize for wanting to be the best. Let's aim to be the best that we can be. And there's a hell of a lot of lessons you can learn when you're trying to be the best and trying to win championships. It doesn't mean you're going to win them all the time. But I'll tell you what, it's a heck of a ride, a heck of a process. And I think that's carried over into all of our other sports. And again, we've got some tremendous coaches. A guy, our track coach, Stan Ford. I don't know how much you cover track, but he would be a great candidate to have on your show. Stan is one of the best coaches in the state of Michigan, and he's stepping down after 40 years. This is going to be his last year as a track coach. And I think he's stepping down because 40 years is a round number. And when do you step down? So he, from Stan, Darren Abbasi, our longtime swim coach, was phenomenal. Jim Manzo, we've had him forever. Andy Stramick, our baseball coach, is one of the winningest baseball coaches in the state of Michigan. So, and these guys, we've all built programs in a similar way of, hey, let's aim to be the best, do the best we can. and learn lessons along the way.
What are some things that you hope your kids that you've coached during these last several years, and now with this second run coming up, what do you hope that are some lessons that you can impart on them that they'll take with them later in life?
Basically the life transferable skills that, the blueprint for success on the football field is the same blueprint you're going to need when you go off to college, or the same blueprint you're going to use when you're in your career area, the same blueprint you're going to need when you're raising a family. That blueprint of showing up every day with a positive attitude, being your best, doing the right things, being able to handle challenges. Life is not always sunshine and ice cream. Being able to bounce back, being able to learn from mistakes. So those lessons, we hope it's necessary to win on the football field, but it's necessary in life, and that's what we talk about. And I think the other thing too with my players, one of my favorite things in the world is meeting up, is seeing some of my old players that played for us that come back and have a different outlook on life. But the times that we had together were special. They're just special, and it's something that it's something that's a bond that will never be broken. That that coaches and players have, that they know that we did everything we could to try to help them be their best, but also most importantly too is we had fun doing it. We had a great time with them, and you develop some positive relationships and some neat relationships. Coaches can push athletes a little harder than mom and dad can. And I crack up sometimes. I get a call from mom or dad and say, "Hey, would you talk to so-and-so about this, because they're not listening to me?" But yet when you say it seems to mean something. And I crack up. But that is really the relationship we have with these guys, is we can call their bluff. We can tell them, hey, you're cutting corners here, or whatever it might be. Or, we're there for the good times, the bad times. So those experiences, I hope the kids leave here knowing that, hey, they were coached well. They were coached hard, and they were left with some positive lessons, regardless of how many wins that translates onto the field. We tell us nothing is guaranteed, and that's probably what's so great about the game. But we're going to do our best that we can to provide a great experience for them.
Awesome.
And I think that's really what we say through Lake Orion Athletics. We want this to be a positive, life-enhancing experience for our student athletes with life transferable skills. That's really one of the platforms for all of our sports that we talk about all the time with our coaches in our preseason meetings, is remember why we're here. Remember who our clients are. Let's remember the bigger picture. Regardless of wins, let's make sure that they're better because they played for us, all right, than when we got them. So, and I think that same template applies to, to football players.
And I am so excited to get a chance to talk about your kids all season long next season when we start the new Football Coaches Show, as well as the Friday Night Call-In Show. It's going to be exciting to talk about the progression that your kids make both on and off the field. Chris Bell, it is so thrilling to have you back coaching the Dragons. I'm excited to see what your teams are going to do, and I wish you all the best in getting back to the sidelines.
I really appreciate you having me. Humbled and honored. I look forward to talking with you during the season. And really quick, if I can, I would like to just offer my congratulations to Kurt Richardson, who over at Clarkston, as he announced his retirement. He's been a fixture over there at Clarkston. He and I believe in many of the same philosophies. We always look forward to playing each other. We had, for a number of years, it was almost the Ohio State-Michigan type battle where the winner of our game was going to win our league. And we look forward to those and had nothing but the utmost respect for him and his teams. And I know they'll be in good hands, whoever they hire, but Kurt was one of a time, and I wish him the best.
Kurt has been an integral part of this show in helping it get off the ground. We talked to him many times, and I'm hoping to catch up with him soon to talk about that decision and give him an opportunity to reflect. He has done a tremendous job over there at Clarkston with those 3 state championships and many kids who have gone on to have success and further that success over in college football and really just in life, like we were talking about. Yeah, absolutely. As a stand-up guy, and you are that too. And it's unfortunate that we didn't get one more Chris Bell, Kurt Richardson game, but like you said, sometimes you just know when it's time to take a step back.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Chris. I appreciate it. I can't wait to have you be a part of the show this fall.
Thank you. I look forward to it. Thanks so much.
Many thanks once again to Chris Bell for making some time this week on A Duff Said. Now, there are a lot of kids at Lake Orion High School with the potential to be college players someday. Coach Bell will no doubt be working hard to develop that talent. One thing he did tell me this week is that there are a lot of good kids coming through the football program and all of the athletic programs at Lake Orion High School. He specifically told me that college coaches are going to be spending a lot of time at Lake Orion. Also want to thank this week the boys basketball coach at Lake Orion, Jose Andrades, and his two seniors, Alden Ritt and Trevor Witt, for making an appearance this week as well. Best of luck to the Dragons and all the boys and girls basketball teams in the state of Michigan competing in the state tournament. And that's going to wrap up this edition of A Duff Said. Remember to check out my website, aduffsaid.com. There you can find this show as well as all the previous episodes I've done just by going to aduffsaid.com and clicking on the Listen to A Duff Said Episodes tab. You can also find information on this show by going to my Facebook page, sports journalist Duff Tyler. You can also find me on Twitter, @DuffTyler. Until next time, this is Duff Tyler reminding you that if Duff said it, it must be true, because that's what a Duff said.